everybody. Okay, we're trying new technology. We're trying a new location.
Oh my god, it looks like you're lip syncing on the television.
This is very exciting. Stop looking at the television. Stop looking at yourself. Okay, scoot over. So you're closer. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
My name's Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married. So this is our podcast show. Show? Knitting podcast.
Okay.
Sweet Tea No Shade. And...
Volume 2?
No, episode 2.
Episode 2?
Yeah.
Volume is like we've done a year's worth.
Yeah, no. Okay, now I'm going to spend the whole time staring at myself in the TV.
See, you need to get so you can like see. I can't see my face through the camera.
Oh, okay.
And that's helpful because a lot of people again.
All right, people are bored already. So, first and foremost, I'm going to stop looking at myself. I'm going to look at the cameras. First and foremost, I can't believe that people watched our podcast.
Isn't that weird?
Like a whole bunch of people watched our podcast.
Like more than 5.
Like more than our family. So that was awesome.
It was awesome. A little terrifying though.
Yeah.
I mean,
why was it terrifying?
Because all these people were like looking at us and we don't know them. It's kind of creepy.
Well, okay, whatever. Except that you're like a narcissist, so you're totally okay with that. But so that was amazing. And you know, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Dan Jones, Bakery Bears, my mother, Betty Ann's story for the week, or for the podcast, Betty Ann goes into the Bakery Bears forum on Ravelry and is like, my son has a podcast. And so out of the goodness of his heart and pity for my mother, I'm assuming.
Well, because she's a crazy lady.
She's a crazy lady. He posted about our podcast, and so I don't know why, because he's, I'm sure, got lots of busy British things to do, whatever British people do. And so that was just super awesome that he did that. And yeah, so we got a lot of people to watch.
And people like following us, which is weird because now they're expecting something.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Yeah.
What if we disappoint?
I'm not worried about that. You can't worry about that kind of stuff. So, okay, we just got a text. I don't
It won't show up.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think that'll show up on the video. The problem is that I am on call for work, so I'm hoping I don't get paged during the middle of this. We'll have to edit around that if it happens. But, so anyway, I just, the whole point of the podcast, of doing a podcast is, at least for me, is to connect with other people who knit. And, you know, some of the other podcasters and...
Success!
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to, like, the people that comment and to talk to you guys. And, yeah, so it's just all about the social aspects of it to me. And because I learned so much from watching other people, I doubt that anybody's ever going to learn anything from watching me for the foreseeable future. But I think we all share that common interest of knitting. Some of us enjoy knitting. Some of us knit and don't enjoy it, but... Okay, so... for today, I think that I want to talk about the normal stuff that we... you know, that you would talk about on a knitting podcast, like... what we're working on and all of that. I don't think either of us have finished anything since the last podcast.
Yes.
So, but that's okay. We're still good people.
I have a good excuse.
You do have a good excuse. Do you want to talk about your hand?
I'm injured. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm praying it's a gym injury, but it's probably carpal tunnel.
Is that what they said?
I don't know. It's just an aggravated tendon. I don't have arthritis.
Yeah, that's good.
So I have an injury.
That's the way to start it off.
Right. It's carpal tunnel, I think. I'm pretending I got it at the gym, but I probably didn't. It's just an aggravated tendon or something like that. But I went to go see a doctor, and they said I have to wear this super cool hand brace for like 4 weeks while it heals. So, and one of the prohibited activities is knitting and crocheting.
Yeah, it actually said that in the paperwork, right?
Well, it said it on the, like, in the whole, like, learn about your blah blah injury. Here's what you should not do. And they said crocheting, but I'm assuming that by...
Oh, but they didn't say
They didn't say knitting specifically, but...
No, that's discrimination.
Well, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I can knit, but I can do I can do a row, and then my hand gets, like, kind of grumpy. So I probably shouldn't. Yeah. So normally I'd be totally done with all my projects. Mm-hmm. But I'm injured.
So we'll start, why don't we start off, and I'll talk about a project that I'm working on that I talked about last time, that has the least amount of drama associated with it. So that project is...
Which is that?
Well, we don't know about the sweater.
I know which one has the most drama associated with it.
Well,
so
I guess, yeah. I think I left my sock that I'm working on upstairs. I'll have to get that. But, so...
I can show one of mine while you get it. Or...
No, then I'm not... I don't know. It's not... No, we won't do it that way.
Okay.
So... Oh, crap. I'm in the middle of the row, so that's never good. But, so I'm still working on the baby blanket for my brother's baby. And... I'm in the middle of a row.
Can you sort of jizz it together?
Yeah. So...
Do you want to hold up one side?
Well, the problem is that... Anyway, I've made some... Oh, how do you do this? Okay, so I've made some progress. Some good progress on it since the last time. The problem is I don't know how big it should be. And my mom's like, well, make it baby blanket size. What does that mean? There's never been a baby in our family, so I don't know what that means. But I'm just going to keep making it till...
And your brother's not a huge baby.
It is going to be a huge baby.
Like,
he's got a huge head, so it's going to be a huge
We've seen ultrasounds.
Oh no, I've dropped a stitch already.
Oh,
Thank God, these are huge stitches. So one thing I wanted to talk about, I didn't talk about last time, was that I am carrying... So, as you can see, I'm changing colors. I'm doing I guess it'd be 4 rows. What is it called when you knit on both the right side and the wrong side? Is that stockinette or is that garter?
Garter. Maybe.
So that it looks like, like you can see it's like knits. It's a row. Oh my God, watching myself on the TV is weird. It's like knit and then purl and then knit and then purl. That's how it shows up on the right side. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's stockinette. I can't ever remember the name of that. But anyway.
Show notes.
Hashtag show notes that aren't going to be there. So anyway, I change every 4 rows, so I'm not gonna weave in all those ends. So what I'm doing is I'm carrying the yarn up from row to row, and I'm curious what people think about that. So I've got to add on I've got to add in a ribbed border. I don't have to, I'm going to. But I'm carrying, this is where I'm carrying the yarn up from row to row, and I'm trying to get, like, here I'm doing it, like, here I was doing it just as I was switching colors, but I'm trying to do it, oh wait, I'm going the wrong way. Here I'm trying to do it, like, more often, of, looping around the yarn to carry it up. And I think it looks fine. It definitely gives it that homemade look. But I don't know. I think it's fine. And I'm wondering if I can, like, hide it somehow when I do the border. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Watch the stitches.
So it's fine. So that's what I'm working on with this, and I just don't know how big to make it, and I'm a little insecure on carrying the yarn up. But
it looks great.
I love how soft it is, and I love that it's a material that and I'm going to try... Okay, so I watched back the last podcast, and I'm, like, leaning over like this the whole podcast, so I'm going to try not to do that. So anyway, just as a reminder, it's the Cascade Yarn Swaddle is the yarn that I'm using, and yeah, so and what's cool about this yarn is that I got it from a store in Stillwater, Minnesota called it's upstairs. I'll get it in a minute. I left the book upstairs with all the notes in it.
But the bag.
What bag?
That bag.
Oh yeah. Hate it when he's right. Darn Knit Anyway is the name of the store in Stillwater. And in the shop hop, that's what I'm going to talk a lot about today, is the Minnesota shop hop. I won a $20 gift certificate. And so we went up and, God, I have to tell the story about your hamburger in Stillwater.
Oh no.
Look what I found.
Oh no.
Ugh. This is Junior. Junior, you gonna look in the camera and say hello? He has
He looks
two different
super
colored
happy.
eyes. Yeah,
He loves the camera. Oh no, he's so sad.
you can see his eyes. There you can see his eyes.
He's so sad.
No, he's not. He's just like, oh my god, I love being on TV.
Oh my god. He's like, I am not your prop.
Alright, so, okay. John,
Okay.
would you like to talk about something you're working on?
Yes, I would. So, I'm just gonna. This is a rerun, but apparently, last time I did not show my work to the camera. So, this is the two-sided double knit scarf. Hi, Junior. That I'm doing. And so it's super fun. It's super terrifying, and with my hand all gimpy like this, gimpy, okay to say? I really can't use two. So I can barely manage one thing of yarn. So two things of yarn is bad. So as you can kind of see, it's a purple and green, purple and green thing, and it goes. That's one side, and then you flip it over, and it's backwards on the other side. Super fun. I really like this yarn. It's yay fun to do. But again, I tried doing it for 2 seconds with this hand, and it was just disaster. So this one is on hiatus. But
so why don't you tell us who the do you have like any information about the pattern or anything? So
yeah.
the pattern you discovered, there was a finished object
in the yarn
in
hop.
a store, right?
Yeah, it's the simple plaid double knit scarf pattern by Tanya Richter.
Tanya Richter.
So we saw it on the sock hop, which we'll talk more about. No, yarn hop. Which
sock hop. I keep saying sock hop.
Which we'll talk more about it. But I saw this an example of this scarf while we were going around, and I was like, that seems really cool. And I always wanted to learn how to double knit, or I did once I saw that, and it's fun. It's really cool. It doesn't make any sense. And
sorry, that's the cat playing. No. The cat finds the stand that the
right
camera's on. Fascinating. So we saw this finished object in the store, and John says, and well, we couldn't find the pattern really, and I was like, that's okay, we can get it on Ravelry. And I said, you just go on Ravelry and I'll show you how to make. And John's response was, oh hell no, I'm not going on Ravelry.
Right. So Scott went on Ravelry.
So I went on Ravelry and got it for him.
It's important to have separate lives.
Yeah. So I feel like you're off camera a little bit. So I don't.
Well, it's weird because I want to scoot over this way, and
I know,
it goes wrong. It goes wrong. Okay.
So it makes me think about the Grocery Girls. I remember early on in their podcast, they kept holding stuff up to the camera and saying, "Oh my God, stuff is back. It's all backwards. You can't read the label because it's backwards. We don't know how to fix it." It wasn't backwards to the camera, like the audience saw it straight. But what's interesting is yours is not backwards. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're not ready to talk about the shop hop yet. So that was your double knit scarf.
Yes.
I am going to talk about my sock for a minute. These are socks for John that I'm doing. And they're really interesting. This is what the yarn looks like. I really like the yarn. It's Jawohl. It's that yarn that's made in Italy for a Swedish company, and so it's German. And I haven't been knitting on this a lot. I've been knitting on it. That looks obscene. Anyway.
Oh my God.
I've been knitting on it just like kind of in the car, basically, because I've been kind of obsessed with my sweater. My polo shirt's all scrunched up. I've been knitting on it in the car because I've been focused on my sweater. But what's really cool about this is it's not really a pattern per se. I did a 2x2 rib at the top, and then I'm doing a 6x2 rib for the body, and it's really, I don't know, it's really stretchy, and I think it's going to be really cool. And then I'm going to do a toe, which I need to figure out the name of it. Maybe somebody knows. It's just where you you knit a row and then you knit slip slip knit on one side. You do it magic loop and you do slip slip knit on one side and knit two together on the other side, and so it makes this lean to it's like a wedge, and then you Kitchener stitch the final 12 stitches on each needle together. And then an afterthought, I'll put in an afterthought heel the exact same pattern. And so that's what I've done with the three other pair of socks that I've done. I really like it, and I mean, I think I'll probably eventually try the heel flap and gusset and the other types of heels and things. And I think there are other types of toes as well, but that's what I'm gonna. This is for you.
Yay!
You know.
I'm excited.
Okay. So, do you have another project?
Right? I have one more project, and this one is one I actually have done a little work on. So it's the stalactite scarf from Rib Magazine.
Nathan Taylor, I believe. Nathan Taylor, is that
sure.
his name? Nathan. Well, hang on. You pull that out.
So anyway, it is these little yarn holder thingies, and I've done a lot, like tons. Like this is like 3 rows. Anyway, it's a linen stitch, I think, where you slip and purl or knit or whatever, and it's gonna be really pretty. I don't think it's gonna be as swelligant as the.
What does that mean?
Elegant and swell. It's an old-timey term. As the one in the magazine that has like beautiful, like, what do you call it? Like things.
Variegated.
Well, it has like little strands from the slipping because it's all consistent. My slipping has not been consistent because
the stalactites, probably.
Well, I don't know. Whatever those are.
Well, it's called the stalactite scarf.
Because it's like a long, narrow thing.
Oh, well, whatever.
Anyway, so anyway, it's supposed to have these like lovely long. I don't know what they're called, but mine are gonna be a little janky, I think.
Oh, we can show the.
Yeah.
This is the. I'm trying not to show any of the pattern. This is the finished objects. How do I do this? The finished object.
So it's got this little. Maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah. And so for those of you who don't know, Nathan Taylor is on YouTube and Ravelry and everything is the Sockmatician. And
so that's his pattern?
That's his pattern, yeah.
Oh, cool. Fun. It's like 9 billion rows, like 900. And I've been doing a row a day because I said it kind of hurts when I knit. And so this will be done in 2020.
Life is pain, Highness. Beauty is pain.
Life is pain.
Yeah,
987 rows.
And what was I going to say about the scarf? Oh, Eric. I don't know his last name. Well, Lutz, I think he's a editor for this. Is it Eric Lutz? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Eric Lutz. He's got the Sticks Plus Twine podcast, and last I knew he had mentioned in one of his podcasts that he was going to be doing that scarf.
I bet he wins.
So yes, but it'd be fun to see like.
Yeah.
He's doing his in a solid color.
Right. The nice thing about the different color yarn is that it hides mistakes. Like it can look like janky, and because it's different colored yarns, it looks all good.
That's the touch connected to the camera.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm injured.
You're injured. Yeah.
And I'm not the same. I'm not as fervent on knitting as you are.
I don't know what that means, but I mean I know what fervent means, but I'm not sure what fervent on knitting means.
It means you do it a lot. You do it often.
All right, so the last work in progress. We got a whole story to tell about this one. So,
oh my gosh,
I've got. So let me find it here. So this is the patina pullover. That's on the cover of episode 1 or issue 1 of Rib Magazine. By the way, you can go and buy issue 2 and 3 of Rib Magazine. Already. They're not shipping yet, but you can buy issue 2 and 3.
Where?
Pre-order or whatever on I think ribmag.
Oh, okay. You can buy them, but you can't.
Sorry, you can pre-order them.
You can't there's a secret place where they're hiding them. And you can buy them special in Toronto
on the
or
black
like that.
market. Yeah,
right.
In Toronto.
In Toronto, in the black market.
But what was my point? Oh, so anyway, I'm very excited about Rib Mag issue 2 and 3. They've been hinting or what's the word I'm looking for? Teasing pictures and on Instagram, and that's been awesome to watch. So here is where I'm at with my sweater. This probably looks like less than when I started, and it is. However,
you're learning.
The skein that I'm using to knit my sweater, here is the skein that I'm using to knit my sweater. And oh my gosh, this looks like the sweater too, doesn't it? I was really excited to show this off, and like the fact that, I mean, this is my first sweater I've ever done, and like the raglan increases and stuff are super cool, and oh my gosh, everything's backwards. I did the sleeves, and I joined the sleeves and did the underarm cast on with backward loop method, and it's looking really good, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm like, that looks awfully small. And John's response was, well, it's scrunched up on your needles. And then, so I have the ChowGoo interchangeable, I think it's red lace or something. These interchangeables. And, yeah. So the needles themselves have, the tips, I guess I should say, have, this is so big it doesn't, some of them have, all of them did. Maybe they don't all have them. Or no, maybe it's the cables that have it. Yeah, it's the cables that have it. Anyway, there's a hole in the cables, and they serve two purposes. One is, this is fun. I've never done this before, where you hold something up tiny to the camera and you're supposed to put your hand behind it and all that. Let's see if this works.
Focus.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's backwards. It hurts my brain.
Yes,
okay,
focused.
so
Yay.
oh, that's cool. So it has this little hole behind it, or inside of it, and the purpose of that hole is twofold. One is to tighten it. You use these T-pins to tighten it on, and then also you can thread yarn through there. You can actually fit sock yarn through there, and as you knit, it puts in a lifeline or waste yarn or whatever you want to call it. So I thought that was really, really cool. And maybe that's something super common that exists in every set of interchangeables, and if so, everybody's laughing right now. But I did that, and I'm like, and John was, you were at rehearsal or something, and I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take it off the needles so that I can try it on and just make sure it's not too small, and see what's going on. And I am going to insert a picture of what it looked like. I can't, I'm going to put it right here if I can do that. People on the other podcasts always say, I'm going to put a picture in right here, and we'll see if it shows up. But it was a little snug. So I cried for just a couple hours.
Why was it snug, though? This is what's funny.
Yeah, it stopped kicking the thing because you're tapping the camera.
But why was it snug?
You're scooting off the camera. I'm going to criticize you through the whole thing. There's a couple, so I'm like, okay. After I stopped crying, I called Mom. I called my Betty Ann. I called Betty Ann, and I'm like, okay, Mom, you need to give me a pep talk, because all this work that I've done on this sweater, it's
for little people.
It's not even for. I mean, it's not for little people. It's just like
twinks.
It's for twinks. So I'm like, what's going on? So the first thing I did was I measured my chest again, because I was like, well, we measured my chest and we're doing the number of stitches for the size that I am. Like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, if my chest is 40 inches, I probably shouldn't do the sweater or the number of stitches for a 40-inch measurement. Because
now it's going real tight.
Inches and 40 inches is 40 inches. Then I checked my gauge, and my gauge was a little off too. So what I've done, even though I did do a gauge swatch, and I met gauge, but whatever, I went up a needle size, and I went up a size or two in the pattern so that there's room in it, because it's supposed to be kind of a baggy sweater. So I'm using the sweater that I've done so far as the skein for the new sweater. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I was all excited to show everybody the progress I had made, and
yeah,
I was gonna go to Men's Stitch and Bitch Night at the Stephen B. yarn store here in South Minneapolis, and I was like, oh hell no, I am not gonna walk up in there with my sweater that's like a disaster. So anyway, and I'm sure they would have been fine. I'm just kidding, but so that's where. So that anyway, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still excited. I learned a lot, and it's one of the things. Okay, so here's Scott's learning moment. We're probably gonna have like a little, the more you know symbol or something, but. What I've learned, and I keep trying to tell Betty Ann this, who's terrified of her heels and toes, putting in a sock, you should just keep going. Now, granted, I didn't just keep going with the sweater, but I'm not frogging it, because even if at the end of the day the sweater turns out... Oh, frogging means like you throw a project away. Like you just...
all the time.
You do that all the time. It means you just stop and you're never going back. And I think it probably means you literally, like, I don't know. Anyway, you stop working on a project.
I wonder if it's an acronym. Like,
I don't know. I was reading.
EFT.
Really? Obviously. Gross.
Yes. I like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So
We didn't swear. We just
effed.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
It looked really good.
Well, yeah, the picture, they will have seen the picture at this
Right.
point, so they know it.
And when it was doing it, you could it looked like a real human
that
sweater.
somebody would buy, not somebody would buy, but I mean,
no, I would buy.
Yeah.
It looked like a very expensive hand knit sweater.
I have a question for the group. So as I'm doing my raglan increases, I'm getting these holes. Oh, let me scoot up here. I'm getting these holes. Right there you go. I'm getting these holes, and there's some of them are bigger than others. Like down here in the raglan increases, they're not so big. Oh wait, I'm backwards. Down here they're not as big, but then when you go up here, there's some that are really kind of bigger. And I'm wondering if anybody has any advice for that. I mean, maybe that's just the way that it is. And I think people would probably say that once you block it, that'll probably go away. The problem is I'm using inexpensive yarn because it's my first garment and I didn't want to waste a whole bunch of expensive yarn on something that turned out to be a disaster. It's Wool Ease by Lion Brand, and so it's like a small percentage, like less than 20%. Oh, here we go. It's 86%.
You got it backward. Oh, no, you don't.
I don't.
There you go.
86% acrylic, 10% wool, and 4% other fiber. So, with that, I don't know that blocking will affect the yarn. So, anyway, it's not the end of the world if I have those holes. I just don't know if that's a thing, like with raglan increases. It looks like on the picture from Rib Magazine that it kind of has little spots, but of course theirs is amazing because they're, whatever. So that's the saga of the sweater, and I'm going to keep going.
To be continued.
And I'm going to finish the project.
I know. It's...
and I love knitting on it. I mean, it's...
Well, and so what's interesting...
I got to keep going. There's something else I got to say.
So what's interesting about it is, so this is a top-down sweater. So I have frogged many. I've frogged 2 sweaters so far.
Like this
like
month.
within the last month.
Okay, let's scoot this way.
And so, and those were the bottom-up sweaters. Sorry, those were both bottom-up. So starting with the big, so you're doing these huge, horrible cast-on that get twisted. Mm-hmm. And then doing all this like horrible ribbing. See, I love it. I love knitting. And I was just like, I was like, this is making me unhappy. I need to do a cardigan that has distinct pieces. But if I were doing a top-down one, you see more progress, and it gets more. You get a shape as opposed to I'm just doing this big old weird tube.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because that was the part I was entering on the sweater was I had gotten past what's called the yoke and then I'd done the underarm stitches, and then the rest of it was just to knit down.
Right.
Oh my god. Sorry, YouTube notification. The Grocery Girls just posted a podcast episode 39. And then you go on and you knit the sweater or the sleeves like a sock.
Yeah.
So
Like, you'd done all the hard part.
I done all the hard part, yeah.
And you'd done it really well. So I'm excited about it. And,
so one more story I have to tell about it.
okay.
So one thing was, there was a line in the pattern that said, shut up.
Well, the best thing is you asked me, though.
Yeah, as the knitting expert, John. Yeah. So, well, you taught me to knit, so
Right.
there's a line in the pattern that says, so you've done a bunch of increases, and then it says, where is it?
Continue.
Oh yeah, continue as established, working evenly until yoke measures approximately
Which
X number of inches.
Which I assume means you work an even number of rows.
Right.
So like
I'm
working evenly, you work
evenly.
2 in pairs.
Because the pattern was you knit around and then you knit an increase round. So it's work evenly. So I got to the end of that section and it said you should now have blah 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 number of stitches. And I'm like, but it's the exact same number of stitches as I started with. So how could I have done all these increase rounds and ended up with the same number of stitches? Like, what am I missing? So the thing that's really cool is that I went onto Ravelry into the Rib Magazine forum, and they have a entry for every pattern in the book, and nobody had posted.
I want to go on my scarf.
Yes.
I should totally. Oh.
You're gonna have to join Ravelry.
Oh, can I join your account?
No. No. You're not gonna sully my account with your crap. So anyway, I went on there and I said, how can I increase all these rows and end up with the same number of stitches? How would you, because the other thing was it's having me do all these increase rows to a certain length, a certain number of inches.
Right.
How would it even know how many stitches I have? Because it's not telling you how many rounds to do, it's telling you the number of inches your yoke should be. And what was really cool is they nearly instantaneously wrote back and said something about that working evenly means something specific, and I didn't know that. Right. I guess in the knitting pattern world, it means you work the pattern as established, except you don't do any increases or decreases.
Right. And they were very nice about it. They could have been like, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her heart.
Bless her heart. So, anyway, I just thought it was really cool that they responded to that, and I'm sure that there are references or something that you could go out to and like, what does working evenly mean? Yeah, well, I Googled it and I didn't really find anything that said that, but I'm sorry, our cat is like...
He's eating his toes.
He's eating his feet. I wish I could show everybody. It's really funny.
Yeah.
So that's where the sweater is at. And I'm going to keep going.
Yay!
So now I thought what we'd talk about is the yarn shop hop. So the Minnesota shop hop. So let me get myself organized here.
The nice thing about it is he spent no money.
Oh, right. Yeah, no money whatsoever. And they didn't trick you into spending money either.
Right.
No, they didn't trick you.
I only went for a little bit. It was super, super fun.
Yeah, and I don't know where my... I thought there was a thing here.
What?
I'm looking for like the passport and everything.
Oh.
But I don't...
Don't forget to sign your passport and put your name on it.
Oh yeah, don't forget to put your passport. Okay, so... And I know that's a reference to what they said all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show this, because I think this will be cool to show. So this is the bag, the tote that... Well, first of all, I should explain. Oh, God, this is... Okay.
No, it's good.
No, I know, but I'm trying to...
What? Do you want to hold it up? You can point?
No, not yet. Thank you,
okay.
But not yet. So, the shop hop was a fundraiser for homeless sheep. No, I'm just kidding. It was a fundraiser for like the food shelves and stuff.
Yes, that's
in the area. And so you could either, to participate in the shop hop, you could give a donation of food or money at each store, or you could buy like a participant pass, which is like all of your like recommended donations, because I think it was like a $5 recommended donation at each store, or you could buy the VIP pass, which you can imagine which one I went with. The VIP pass, which got you, I think it got you like an extra drawing that you were entered into, as well as free patterns or something.
Right, and you won. So that
I did. That was for the darn knit anyway. So anyway, it was a really cool cause, and there were 14 stores that participated, and for those of you that don't know the Twin Cities area, the Twin Cities consists of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And so this was the entire metro area, so all the suburbs and everything. So I think only two of the stores are actually in Minneapolis or St. Paul. The rest were in suburbs. So so my friend Sonia, who by the way is going to be a special guest in our next episode. Did I tell you that?
Yes.
Okay. She's very excited. So she is a very enthusiastic knitter along with me. She and I sit in cubes, or we have a cube wall in common. And she had gone on, because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so Thursday she'd gone like all day with some friends of hers from her knitting group, and they'd covered like all the stores. Mm-hmm. So then, but we had just gotten back from our honeymoon, and I didn't have any vacation days. So I couldn't do that. But I was able to take half a day on Friday. And so I went with her on Friday. And if you want to hold it up.
You should tell her how you first, well, all right.
What?
Because you called her because
I'm getting to that,
okay.
Yeah. She had covered, okay.
You might just get fond.
This is my friend Sonia's home store. Where is it? Knitting from the Heart in, oh God, I think it's Woodbury.
Yes.
And then John and I live, oh my gosh, this is too hard to do.
We live
like right there.
Sort of.
Burp. So, well, yeah.
Yeah,
that's downtown Minneapolis, and we live down here. Minneapolis extends down here. Anyway.
Right.
So, on Friday, I got off work, and she and I went to lunch, and then we started off at the Yarnery, which is in St. Paul. Okay, we can take the bag now. We started at the Yarnery, which is in St. Paul, and it's a house on this street in St. Paul called Grand Avenue, it was just beautiful. And I walked in, and first of all, there were a couple guys working at the store, which doesn't really matter, but it always is like nice when you see other male knitters, out and about, because I don't see that too often around here. And so the first thing I noticed when I walked in is the first thing you see is a wall of Brooklyn tweed. And I had never seen it in person. I'd heard everybody talk about Brooklyn tweed yarn. And so there's just a wall of it. And they're the only store in Minnesota, I think, that carries Brooklyn tweed. So I wanted to show everybody, I bought a couple skeins because I wanted to, I'm going to have to dump this out so that I can get to everything. So I bought, because I put the first stuff on the bottom. That wasn't very smart. So I bought 2 skeins of, and I don't know, this light, we might have to get different light, but so this is, it's kind of focusing. Yeah. So that is the yarn, and it's their loft base, and the color is, let me see, what is the color? The color is...
Almanac?
Is it Almanac? I think so. That's the colorway. And so it's 50 grams, 275 yards, fingering weight. And so the guy, and so keep in mind, I am still a relatively new knitter. The guy says, well, what are you going to use that for? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe a pair of socks. And he's like, the horror on his face. And I was like, socks that I only wear in bed? Like, he totally freaked out. And he's like, well, it's 100% wool, and it's woolen spun. So it's not going to be as strong as, sock yarn. And so now I'm terrified to even touch this yarn. I don't know what to use it for, to be honest. And I'm sure I think a lot of people do garments like shawls and sweaters and stuff, but the other thing I've heard is that it's kind of, I mean, keep in mind, the first yarn that I ever knitted with was Yarn Cafe Creations, which is famous for being like super soft, super squishy yarn. And this yarn is, I don't know how to explain it except it's kind of dry feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've heard is when you wash it, it just totally changes it. And I think a lot of people use it for like sweaters and stuff. So anyway, that was what I got there. Oh, and then also, so the theme was music. So each store had to do something around music. And so this store, and some of them I remember and some I don't. But on this store, and then each store had at least one pattern. That's not it. Each store had a pattern that they were giving away to at least the VIP members. I don't know if anybody who was participating in the sock hop got to take advantage of that or not. But and then they had custom dyed yarn. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but hopefully I'm not. They had custom dyed yarn that you could purchase that they had, the colorway they had designed specifically for the shop hop. So this was the yarn, and I want to show that. I just love this combination. So it goes from like a teal through to, people always talk about it not showing up on camera, the color that it really is. When I held this up just now, it looked almost purple. The color, the red, but this is the red. Oh, that's better. So that's, it's like a true red, and from a teal down to a red. And so these correspond to a pattern, but the minis that this bag gradient yarn set, Fave Sock is the base, Fiber Story is the company, the Times They Are a Changin' is the set. So oh my god, there's so Princess Leia. Anyway, here's the pattern. Tangled up in blue hat. Oh, and I shouldn't show the thing because it's a pattern. But that's what the final hat looks like with the colors that I purchased. So I think that's really cool looking. All right. So then after we went to the yarnery, we went to my home store, Stephen B. And I think many of you know, have heard of Stephen B. If not, you should just look. StephenB.com, I think, is his website. And if not, I'll correct myself. But he's hilarious.
Probably .edu.
.gov. I think there is a StephenB.tv. But anyway, he's hilarious. I've met him and talked to him in person 3 or 4 times now when I've been in the store. And he's just hilarious. And super uber talented, and his store is just
It's a converted firehouse.
It's a converted firehouse, and it's massive. So we went to Stephen B, and I tried not to. I was like, I'm gonna go to Stephen B, and this is my home store, so I'm not gonna buy anything because I can buy anything here anytime. And yeah, right, that didn't work. So what they had was a million different custom colorways that they had, and Miss Babs did the custom yarn for him. And so all the store employees were dressed up like different Lady Gagas. There was one woman walking around and she just had sunglasses and it was just a mirror. And like, it was just a mirror. And I was like, can you see us? She'd come up and talk to you and I'm like, can you see me? And she's like, yeah. So anyway, Stephen B goes gaga. And this is... I just thought this was so cool. It's a massively huge skein of yarn. You can see it's got like that, and then it has that, and then it has that, and then it has cat hair all over it.
Because everything in our house has cat hair all over it.
Then it has that. Like, it just has everything. And this one I struggled to figure out which was the base, it's 100% superwash merino. It's 8 ounces, which I don't know how many grams, but it's 560 yards. It's Yowza, but I don't know if that's the base. I think it probably Yowza is the base, and Stephen B goes Gaga. I wonder what this thing could be used for. Maybe it's just a bracelet. Oh, I think it's a slab bracelet. It's totally a slab bracelet. So anyway, very, very cool. And he had a million different, not a million, but he had several colorways that were custom. And then there were some patterns that I wasn't particularly interested in, but but there were there were other skeins. So here's some more skeins that I bought. So these are really cool, and I don't know if you can't really see, but it's this kind of does it. This little section here does a good job of showing all the different colors. So it's got a brown, and then it's got a blue. Maybe if I take the pink slap bracelet off. Oh my God, they're slap bracelets. I can't wait to tell Sonya these are slap bracelets. Yeah, so it's almost like what am I trying to say? It's like rusty grayish blue. So it's like a grayish blue skein of yarn that got rust on it, and it's the colorway is lumbersexual, which is hilarious. So for those of you who don't know, lumbersexual is a term that I think has recently become popular. And this is House of Alamode Fiber Goods. But it's all those guys who are... Isn't lumbersexual like they're gay, but they're trying to be like super butch and...
No, they're just they got the big long beards and the...
Oh, right. They
the
look
plaid
like a lumberjack.
shirts, and they're wearing like big boots and like jeans, and they've never seen an axe in their life.
Right, right. So those are the lumbersexuals. So I thought that was great. Then I also bought a pair. Yeah, remember this is the Stephen B store that I live near, so I don't need to buy anything. And I bought, I think, the most there. I bought a pair. I bought just a skein of black yarn. It's Heritage Cascade yarns, merino and silk. And the reason that I bought this was because I think that black... Well, I was buying it specifically for the heels and toes of my police box socks that I still haven't given to my friend Charles, that I need to give to my friend Charles. But I had enough black from another skein, but I just bought it in case. But I think I'll always have like socks that I want to put a black toe and heel in, so always can use that. So then the third store that we went to, this was still on Friday, was Linden Yarn and Textiles. And that was in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, the first ring suburb. Really cool store. Had this beautiful, I'm looking at my notes here, beautiful cashmere yarn. And it was a cashmere blend, and then, but it was sold out. It was the second day of the shop out of 4 of the shop hop, and they'd already sold out of the yarn, of the custom dyed yarn. They had a really cool cowl pattern that they were giving out. Oh, here it is. I am partially organized. So I don't think I'm giving anything away. So anyway, this is the pattern, and it's supposed to mimic... The name of the pattern is Tom on Base, which was the woman's husband, the woman who owns the store. Chris R. Knits is the name of the person who did the pattern. And it's... I'm going to hold it back up again. So it's supposed to look like the... I think it's reminiscent of a piano, but it's supposed to be like the bars on like an equalizer, like a...
Oh,
like
sure.
They're mixing music or whatever. I just thought it was really cool. I'll probably... I don't know. I think I'll do that pattern. I just thought it was cool. Yeah. So that was that. And then at that store, I bought this book. Son of Stitch and Bitch. Thought it was hilarious. 45 projects to knit and crochet for men. I just thought it was really funny. And there were actually several things in here that I thought were cool. It had everything from... It had several sweaters, which were cool. It has a bag, a messenger bag with a cassette tape detail on it. Socks. I'm trying to find a specific sweater that I want to do. Oh, there's like a skull sweater. Because, like, yeah, man, super cool. So, skulls. When was it published? 2007. So, anyway. Really cool book. Son of Stitch and Bitch. Alright, so then the next place we went... Oh, so then that was the end of day one because we were about to run out of time. And I... yeah, I think I had to go do something or whatever. I couldn't stay out to the whole time that the shop hop was going on. So then day 2 rolls around, which was Saturday, and John was busy and Sonia was busy. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go on the shop hop by myself. Because I wanted to go to all 14 stores and just do the whole thing. So I started off by going to Three Kittens, which I thought was the most hilarious store name ever. Three Kittens in Mendota Heights. And when I went in there... they seem to have a lot of, I forget what it's called, but it's like they have the squares of plastic. I don't know if it's plastic or if it's fabric, but it's like stuff's printed on it, and then you can sew on it to
Needlepoint?
Needlepoint, is that what it is?
Sure.
So anyway, they had a lot of that, and a lot of people, there were like groups there doing that and stuff. But it was a really nice store, and people were really nice. Where did I put my book with all of my notes in it? Here it is. So that was... and that was where I bought my Day of the Dead project bag. And so, funny story about what it's like to be a male knitter. I walk into the store, and I walk around and get my stuff stamped. And so when I went up to the register, the woman didn't know that I was there for the sock. She was not the same woman who had stamped the passport to say that, I participated in the shop hop. And so I put this down, I went to buy that. And she's like, oh, were you sent here on a mission to get this bag? And I was like, no, it's for me. So that's, it is what it is. So, yep. So I love John and I, the cake topper on our wedding cake was Day of the Dead, so we like that kind of stuff. So I got back in my car and I called Betty Ann and I'm like, OMG, this is so much fun. I wish you were here. All the different yarn and blah blah blah. And then I got really sad because I was by myself. And so I called Sonia and I'm like, Sonia, I'm having so much fun. You're right, because she'd already done everything. Like she'd gone to all the stores. The final 3 that she and I did the day before, like that was completing her thing. So she's like, well, I could go to him again if you wanted me to. And so she like saved my life because I didn't want to do any of it by myself. So that was very nice of her. We went to, so I went to Darn Knit Anyway, which is in Stillwater, which is it's out on the Mississippi River on the border with Wisconsin. And it's a little bit of a drive. So I went there by myself. Amazing store. Their theme around music was around the musical Hamilton, and they had this amazing sorry, we're getting another text message. They had this amazing photo, like press release type photo or publicity photo for the cast of Hamilton, and all their amazing costumes and everything. And so I bought, so their yarn was based on that. Their custom yarn. So this is the colorway, and it's just amazing. It's got this green in it, and it's got brown, and then it goes down to like a light white with some bluish in it. And it's Sweet Georgia yarn, which I know the grocery girls go crazy for. I think, is Sweet Georgia Canadian?
Of course she is.
I can't remember. Yeah, of course she is. Hand dyed in Canada. Sweet Georgia. But it's 70% merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So you can imagine how amazing this yarn feels. Yeah. And I only bought one skein just because it is so expensive. It was so expensive because of the cashmere in it, and it's beautiful. A lot of these I don't have any ideas for patterns yet. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them, but we shall see. And then I
Skipped one.
skipped Knitting from the Heart. So I'd gone to Knitting from the Heart, and that's where I bought the yarn, the Yavel yarn that I'm using for John's socks. And then I bought this amazing book. Oh my god. It's Book of Fair Isle Knitting. I don't know how many people know about this book, but I did the police box socks, and that has color work in it. It's obviously not, Fair Isle knitting, but it's, color work. And I mean, I could do it all day long. Like, that's all I ever did. I had so much fun doing that. And Skandir Knits is one of my favorite podcasts to watch, and she, her focus is traditional knitting and Norwegian knitting and this kind of color work and stuff like that. So I bought this book, and it talks about like the history of Fair Isle, off of Scotland, and I think it's part of Scotland. But anyway, they talk about, and it just has like a jillion different charts in it for color work. And it has, patterns, and it's just really, really an amazing book. It's, almost 200 pages long. So it was published in, I don't know if other people care about when it was published. I always think that's interesting. 1988 was when it was published. So maybe this is a really famous book. I haven't heard any podcasters talk about it. But I watch a lot of podcasts, but anyway.
Let's see.
Okay.
What you talk about?
Okay. So then, so I bought, so back to Darn Knit anyway in Stillwater. I bought that Sweet Georgia yarn with the Hamilton theme, and then I bought this shawl pattern it's a kit, and this is what the pattern looks like. And it has some, and I got it with like shades of blue for the colors. And it's Shawl with No Name by Carol Davis Johnson. And it's an exclusive pattern for Darn Knit anyway. So I'm excited. It's I don't know about, knitting shawls and if I would wear one necessarily. I mean, there are people like Stephen West, of course, and sort of a knitter. He lives here in Minnesota, and I cannot remember, Josh something. Anyway, he designs a lot of shawls, and and he wears a lot of shawls. I'm not sure how they would look on me and all of that. But this one I think would be awesome to wear, and especially use as a scarf. And the thing that's really cool about living in Minnesota is the fact that it's winter for 6 months out of the year, so we can always wear this kind of stuff. All right, so the Lyle and Claudine was a store up north. Well, I think then Sonia joined me, and Lyle and Claudine it's over here. It's right, not that one. It's this one.
White Bear Lake, right?
White Bear Lake, I think. Yeah, go Bears. White Bear Lake, go Bears. And Lyle and Claudine, every store was cool, but they had a downstairs area that was really huge, and it was where they had their classes and stuff, and they had a rowboat in the downstairs full of yarn, and it was their sail ship, or their sailboat. I'm so smart.
Sail ship.
Sail ship. It was their sail dinghy. Sail boat, and it was like that's where they put all their sail yarn. So I thought that was really cool. And I went upstairs, and shut up.
Sorry.
There are these guys sitting there knitting, and one of them was a friend of mine who I know from the chorus, and John and I are both. I'm no longer in it right now, but I have been for many, many years. The Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. And anyway, this guy's, his name was Bob, was there, and then come to find out, his boyfriend, I don't think they're married, his boyfriend works at the store. So yeah, it was really cool to see them. And there was, sorry, I paused for a minute because I thought I bought something there. I know I bought this like lotiony stuff. So this is what I wrote. Trippin' with Dixie.
There. Is this it?
Oh, that's it. Good catch. Trippin' with Dixie Fiber Company. Naboo Night.
Like from episode 1.
I don't know.
It's the Jar Jar Binks of wool.
The Jar Jar Binks of wool.
I guess
He's the one to knit.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Trippin' with Dixie Fiber Company. So anyway, this is you can tell it's different shades of blue. You can tell I like blue because I'm wearing a blue shirt and I'm sitting in a blue room and I've got blue yarn.
You have blue eyes.
I have blue eyes. 220 yards, and I think it's probably 100 grams. Okay. Time in. So John just had a really good idea.
I'm hungry.
Is that where this is coming from?
Maybe a little bit.
John's like, oh my god, you should totally split up the stores from the shop up into 2 episodes. So then you have something to talk about in 2 episodes.
Well, no, so you can give the appropriate amount of care to each stop on the shop.
Or he's hungry and he wants to go eat dinner.
They can be both.
Both and. So, yeah. So I think that's a good idea. And plus, I love settling into a good hour-and-a-half podcast. And I'm not kidding. I love to sit and just let podcast after podcast after podcast play.
Girl.
But I liked the length of our first one, which was 50 minutes. And I think once we edit this one down, it'll be about that.
Yeah. That'll be our brand.
The 50-minute podcast. So, Sweet Tea No Shade on Ravelry, Instagram, and all of that. I think I talked about that at the beginning, and I still am waiting. I've had people like laugh and or put not laugh, but put ha 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 on Instagram or whatever, and like talk about how they love that name. But I'm still waiting for someone to like message me or whatever and like actually say that they know what the reference is.
Well, it's 2 references. That's why it's fun.
Well, yeah, it's 2 references, but anyway, we'll eventually explain what it's all about. Because we have to leave people in suspense. That's the only reason people watch the podcast is to find out what the hell the name means. That's all it's a thing. Like I know you don't know these things, but
that would be super, super, super.
Whatever. So what were we saying? Sweet tea. No. Oh, so anyway, so next episode we're gonna have my friend Sonia here, which is really exciting. I will look much different next time you see me because after the next podcast, I will have turned over into 40 years old, and it's just it's gonna be awful.
It's gonna be haggard.
No, because I'll look different because I will have freaked out and gone and got Botox.
Yeah, you're not. No, that's not allowed.
So anyway, I can't believe how many people watch the podcast, and it's super, super, super fun.
We only showed one of our animals, so we'll see.
Well, the first episode was Linus
and Grady.
Oh, and Grady, that's right. And this episode was Junior.
So when you do the little teaser thing, I'll put Junior on there, so people like, oh, there's a cat in it. I'll totally watch it.
John is using our children for bait. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody, and talk to you again soon.
Bye. Bye.